Hello, and welcome to another episode of Winning Where It Matters. My name is Kyei Amoako, and it's a pleasure to have you here with me. Today, I want to talk about the power of personal branding. Recently, I had the opportunity to speak to a group of professionals about the power of personal branding. And I did say to them that I am not the world's greatest expert in personal branding, but I have some ideas about personal branding and I think it's worth considering. So I shared that with them. And I think we could all benefit from it. So allow me to share those ideas with you. When we say the word brand, a lot of different things come to mind. For a lot of people, Coca Cola, Samsung, Apple, Walmart, all of these brands represent something and for a lot of people, it's the logo of that organization that represents their brand to you. Now, I want to expand how we think of brands because brands mean a lot more than a logo. Now, for companies, the brand is how consumers feel about that organization or their products or certain individuals in that organization. So that's branding. Now, what I want to talk about today is personal branding, the personal side of branding. Everyone has a personal brand. You have a personal brand, I have a personal brand, and I want to suggest to you that your personal brand is what people think and feel when they hear your name or interact with you. I have a personal brand. There's some things that you think about when somebody says my name. There's some things you think about when somebody says your boss's name. There's some things that you think about when you think of a person you work with. That is their brand. And some of those things are things that have been cultivated over time in how they've presented themselves. Now, why am I talking about a personal brand? I think it's important. We live in a day and age where the idea and the concept of branding has been distorted to mean something other than what it really is. It's more about, hey, just putting a facade around things so you could project a certain image or a certain appearance. But there's more to it than a facade. A brand is what people think and feel when they hear your name or they interact with you. Now, there are authentic brands and there's also made up brands, but I'm hoping that in sharing these thoughts, it will give us all opportunities to think about our authentic brands and help us show up the way we want to be remembered or what we want people to think or feel when they hear our name or interact with us. Now, personal branding matters. It matters, and I like to share three reasons why personal branding matters. I want to talk about expectations, I want to talk about credibility, and I want to talk about opportunity. When you're dealing with somebody, you want to know what to expect. You want to know what's this person like and what can I expect in my interaction with them. Their personal brand conveys that. It sets up what you can expect in dealing with the individual. Credibility. Your personal brand inspires people's confidence in your character and your competence. If you have a brand that says, hey, you're good at doing something, it lets people have confidence in your ability to do those things. And it also lends credibility to who you say you are. Now, about opportunity, your personal brand would either open doors or close doors to opportunities to lead or to serve or make an impact. Now, I mentioned the group that I spoke with. I'm not an expert at branding, but somebody asked me to speak to that group because I had carried myself a certain way that somebody said, well, what I have to say might be helpful to the group. And so it opened the door to that opportunity. Now, if I didn't carry myself a certain way, if I didn't have a certain level of credibility, if I hadn't shaped the expectations that people have in dealing with me in a certain way, that opportunity to speak to that group wouldn't have happened. So it also holds true in opportunities for you to have promotions, opportunities for you to do business with prospective business partners, because the expectations they have of you, the credibility that you project, and will definitely translate into the opportunities for you to lead or to serve. There's also another thing that I talked about, and it's the tussle between reality and perception. Now, we all know that we are awesome, right? You know that you're awesome, but not everybody knows that, right? The reality is that you're good at what you do. The reality is that you're just this amazing baker or this fantastic speech writer, but that has to match people's perception. What is true, and people's perceptions are what it is. And what you hope to happen is that the perception of people will intersect broadly with reality, so that whatever you're projecting matches how people feel and think when they hear your name or they interact with you. So reality is important, perception is important, and you got to pay attention to both of those. Now, you can't control how people feel or think about you, but you can influence that. When I think of how you can enhance your personal branding, I think of things in three separate buckets. The first bucket is what's out there. What do people say about you when people ask them, "Tell me about Che," or how do people feel when your name is mentioned in a room? Do they think, "Oh, he's good. He will help you," or that guy knows what he's talking about, or this person is competent, right? Are those the things people say about you? If you were to poll a few people, what are the words they would use in describing you? If you Google yourself, what would you find, right? That's what's out there. That's what feeds people's perception of who you are. Now, some of that may be true, some of that may not be, but whatever it is, that's what's out there. And it's important to know that. The second bucket is who you are. Who you are, that's reality. Who you are, what you're good at, what matters to you, what do you care about. Those things are what you are, and you have a lot of control over that, right? I care a lot about excellence, and so I try to do things well, and hopefully by doing things well, it shows in how I interact with people, and that seeps into people's consciousness. And so when they think about me or when my name is said, that's possibly one of the things that will come up. The third bucket that I like for you to consider as you think about how you take stock and do the things that you can to control the things you can control about your personal brand is how you show up. Do you show up with a sense of urgency when there's work to be done? Are you dependable? Do you show up dressed appropriately for the places that you need to be? There are all these kinds of things that people pick up on. So take stock of what's out there. Get a little bit of a closer look into who you are and think about how you show up. And as you do these three things, the goal is not to become something that you're not, but is to refine and enhance how you show up, so that when your name is mentioned, when people think of you, they think about the things that you want them to think about. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you did, please like, share with others, definitely subscribe. And I did mention that we have an event in Columbus on November 21st. It's Connecting on Purpose. So if you are in Columbus and you have not RSVP'd, I encourage you to follow the link on our website, on my website, and register so you could join us on November 21st. As always, I believe in you, and I hope you believe in yourself too. My name is Kyei Amoako, and I'll see you on the next one.